Good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, October 6th. Here for another Trade Idea webinar, here starting on the economic calendar. So let's take a look overnight. We did have one significant data point, actually two, coming out from the Eurozone and the pound. The PMI and the pound actually came out much better than expected with 52.3 reading, way above forecast and above previous. So this is a optimistic headline coming from the UK. However, in the euro, still some pain. Negative 0.3% actual retail sales month over month. So there's a shrinking economy still being shown in this data, even though we're better than forecast, better than previous. This does not mean much when we're still shrinking by 0.3%, right? So still recessionary. Later on in this session, we only have, in terms of data for the US dollar, we only have this initial jobless claims here. We're coming out with a forecast of 203,000 jobs, so it'll be interesting to see. Again, tomorrow, Friday, will be the big data heavy jobs day. So we got the NFP tomorrow. So if we look at this week here. Right, so today is a very light day in terms of economic data. We have, again, like I said, the initial jobless claims, which should have very minimal impact because of all the data tomorrow coming in with the labor market. Apart from that, we also have Waller and Mester speaking. So it'll be interesting to see if they're still holding this hawkish rhetoric, if they still have the same sort of tone about their hawkishness, and they reiterate and recommit to their inflation 2% goal, right? So their mandate right now is to bring inflation down. So I want to see that they're going to be bringing down inflation by all means necessary, right? So this is what I'm going to be looking for them to maintain that rhetoric. Apart from that, we could end up seeing a very quiet day if initial jobless claims is around where the forecast is, and we don't have any other data, as markets are waiting for Friday, jobs day, Friday, October 7th. Tomorrow we're going to have the heavy data day with 8:30 coming out with the hourly earnings, non-farm payrolls, and unemployment rates, among others. So we have a light day for data, as we can see on the US dollar index here. So as we predicted yesterday, we couldn't confirm more buys unless we broke above previous lows here. We're still technically bearish on the US dollar. However, I do like the fact that from this rejection, we did not come all the way down to the bottom here. We actually found some support at previous highs here, previous sensitivity area, daily key level, and starting to push back up here. So I'm not going to say the US dollar bulls are back in play here, because we are still below previous lows here. So need to confirm DXY breaking above the 4-hour break of structure here, 111.5, in order to see some continued buys. If not, we could end up double topping, and from this double top we either start ranging, or we could finally get that move to the downside where we either get some bulls from here or we break through, right? But for now there's nothing conclusive. We are again ranging so far below this low. So far the bearish structure is holding, but the sellers are exhausting. So it's not a very good signal of one-sided volatility. So it's more so ranging here for today. Looking over at the equity markets and the VIX, still hovering near the lows after this initial spike to the upside, rejecting previous highs here around 35, 34. Come to the downside now. Now we're hovering near the next weekly key level around 29. Still above previous highs, which shows that the bear market is still active here, but we are getting a pullback from these lows. So we could see that on the Dow Jones from the most recent push to the downside. We sort of had a slowdown of a little bit of a double bottom, seller exhaustion, and buyers coming back as the market is starting to price in potential Fed pivot. Obviously, the Fed has not said anything about this pivot, but we are getting a little bit of a relief rally from that as sellers step out of the market and buyers are starting to break into new higher highs above previous highs here, and we're maintaining above that structure. So far, again, we're seeing that the optimistic sentiment is holding. Dollar bears are still in control. However, they are exhausting. Equity buyers are still in control. However, they're exhausting. Right? So it seems like we're going to have a low volatility day, and we sort of expect that when we're coming the day before a big data release, right? So the NFP tomorrow will probably be the catalyst to see some more volume in the market. But having said that, with a very low expectations of volume today, let's start on gold and dissect the recent price action. We're still basically hovering near the same levels, but let's do a quick recap on gold market structure. The higher time frame is bearish still, as the weekly is consecutively printing new lower lows, lower highs, and lower lows here. However, now on the daily time frame, from this previous lower high that we pushed into these lows, we now have buyers step in at this key weekly level, 1618 area, and push aggressively to the upside, breaking past previous highs and continuing with the momentum back into these previous supply area. This was a low, lower high, lower low, retest this previous low, and this was the most recent supply area where sellers pushed down the market. Right, so this is a significant area. So technically, on the higher time frames, we are still bearish as long as we stay below this zone here. However, on the 4-hour, we are maintaining bullish structure, but we are seeing further signs of exhaustion. This is good. This is actually pretty good leading up to tomorrow's data, as we are failing to break so far this key supply area. And even since after creating a support, we're failing to break and actually creating some sort of lower high at the moment, right? So this is not a good sign for buyer strength. So I'm not going to be looking for buys unless we're back above the previous highs and we start to create some sort of support above this zone. Or if we come back down, no, you know what? Since the higher time frame trend is bearish, I'm not going to be looking for buys unless we're back above this level. However, for sells, I can't sell right now at this point. If we come back up and create another double top fail to break, could end up seeing some sells at least to this lower time frame zone, potentially even coming back down to retest this weekly key level 1680, and we could get a bounce from there, or we could continue to break to the downside. But this is an important level here for sells, and we have seen that we've had some reactions here, We may end up getting some more weakness, but I would like to see potentially a retest of 1727, 28 area to get in on some potential sells. That's based on the 4-hour time frame. So hold on, let's take this off. Okay, so the 4-hour is bullish still, but sort of entering this consolidation, right? So it's going hand in hand with our investor sentiment analysis that they're basically just sitting on the sidelines here. On the 1 hour time frame, it's just a mess. I'm not going to break this down. Since the 4 hour is ranging, there's no point of breaking down the 1 hour structure because it's just, it's messy. We got the double top here coming down, and then we have a consolidation here at this point as well, coming back up into the previous highs, and then we got another little order block forming. So it's just a big mess here. Again, I'm not going to be looking for any trades, especially in the middle of the range. Potentially, if we come back up, this would make sense. We get this double top on the 1 hour. We can take a sell from there. However, I'm not going to be looking for buys. If we come back down to this medium-term zone like we did yesterday, I'm not going to take any buys from this level because the last push from this level did not create a higher high. So this trade worked out here pretty well because we had this push to the upside, right? This trade right here worked out pretty well, and we had this new impulsive break to the upside. So what I'm trying to show here is this level of liquidity is a set of buyers, let's say, and the buyers brought prices aggressively into this zone. Last time price came back down here, we had less aggressive price action, and we're actually starting to get weaker and weaker bounces. And if we come back down to the zone again, it's highly likely that maybe even if we get a small bounce, it may be smaller in size as the buyer is getting weaker and weaker, and we might end up getting a push to the downside as this zone breaks, right? So on gold, I'm going to be sitting on the sideline today. Nothing I like. On GU, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. Higher time frames are bearish. We are rejecting this previous level, this daily breakage structure, this previous level of sell side liquidity, and we're starting to reject here. So if you can see, even with this aggressive bullish price action where we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive days of bullish price action, basically correct most of this downside move, but coming into retest previous lows, we are still getting the pullback here, or the reaction here, I would say. So the daily and weekly is still bullish on the higher time frame, bearish on the higher time frames, as the U.S. dollar is dominating, as the pound is weak as shit. The higher time frame trend is still very much active here. Now on the 4-hour time frame, we're seeing nice signs of exhaustion. However, the 4-hour is still technically bullish for the time being. Right, so from these lows, we've created consecutive bullish price action with these higher highs, higher lows, and the most recent higher high into this zone around 1.15, 1.14. We've had the reaction here. We've retested previous highs in bullish structure, had a weaker bounce, and actually a lower high being formed on the 4-hour, and now we're coming back to retest this low here. So at this point, this is not favorable to be looking for some sort of double bottom buy here, as the most recent bullish price action was very weak and got faded out quickly. So we may end up getting a potential deeper pullback or some deeper price action where sellers may end up printing a new lower low on the 4-hour. Now, if we do get that new lower low, that's going to be more interesting for taking sells below this key level, for continuation to potentially retest the 1.1025 key level. Right, so I'm not going to be looking for buys right now given this price action, but some sells would be nice if we can confirm that the US dollar is strengthening and breaks potentially above this previous level that we marked out in our pre-session analysis here. If we break back above 111.7, let's say, so back above these highs and this 4-hour bearish breakage structure zone. If we're back above this around, let's say 111.8, if we're at 111.8, that means we've cleared above this zone. GU will most likely be correlated by breaking this level. Then now we have some structure to retest on the way down, either this level right here, once we break and retest, or we're going to have this key level as well that we could retest once we break, and then we see a lot more buyer exhaustion, seller strength. We can still get that retest like that and take the sells to the downside. So we're still in wait and see mode, even if we have to wait for it to break before. We can't just anticipate it to break right now. We need that confirmation, because we might end up rejecting and potentially getting a double top here, or if dollar just rolls over, we may end up getting the break and the continuation, right? So we need to wait for confirms. Right now we're getting mixed signals, so there's not anything to do for me. The 1 hour is clearly bearish here. We got a nice clean 1 hour break of structure here. Previous lows broken. So yeah, so there's nothing to do, because the trend confirmations aren't there for GU or gold. As on GU, the weekly time frame and the daily time frame is bearish. The 4 hour is still bullish for the time being. We're waiting for this the 4 hour to flip, and the 1 hour is bearish. Right, so we're all bearish except for the 4 hour. Once the 4 hour flips, we're gonna have clean sells, as all the time frames are going to be in alignment. But so far, there's no confirmations for me to take sells, especially at this level here. We don't know what's going to happen. And then to recap, the gold position again, weekly and daily are bearish. Well, actually, short term bullish on the daily time frame, as we did break above this key level right here. But we're at a daily resistance, so we're ranging. I'm going to call it ranging on the daily. Right, we're between daily supply and daily demand zone. The 4 hour is still bullish, and then the 1 hour is bearish. So we have mixed sentiment again on both of our pairs. So so again, I'm probably going to wait for tomorrow, or for any day with better market structure confirmations. And